Hi there, and welcome to the living room. I hope you enjoyed that little video we sent out in our newsletter if you signed up. We talked about the Saturday Night Live More Cowbell skit, and I'm still chuckling about it because, Will Ferrell, Christopher Walken, they just do such a great job of just tapping into that music humor that I love. And my favorite moment is probably when Will Ferrell says, I'd be doing myself a disservice if I don't play the heck out of this cowbell. And so if you haven't seen it, you gotta watch it. I'm not gonna spoiler any more of it for you, but that's the last time I'm gonna talk about it, even though I could talk about it a lot more. And I love the moral of it. Sometimes the most selfless and giving thing you could do is to come up to the table, come up to the plate, step forward with whatever gift you have and play the heck out of that thing, and really offer it and initiate. And also last week was Thanksgiving. And it's really perfect because Thanksgiving is one of my favorite holidays. And we're going from Thanksgiving now into the Christmas season. So today's message begins a series on giving. We're going to talk about, over the several weeks here, we talk about how to become better givers, how to become more freely giving without expectation. What's the standard of how God would want us to give? And these are really good topics because sometimes it's not so clear if we ourselves are growing in our capacity to give. Actually, giving is one of the best metrics that you can measure and see if there is spiritual growth going on, right? Am I more giving with my time or my energy or money or whatever else may be, my gifts? And so I really want to see if we can explore together how we can be more giving. How can we use God's word to unlock this potential that we have to be incredible givers in many different ways? So I'm thinking, wow, perfect word, right? Thanksgiving, right? Going from being grateful to being giving. And how do we do that? And of course, Christmas is right around the corner, so my daughter's requesting that we play Christmas music, and we put on a playlist at home, and pretty much my favorite Christmas song comes on, which is the Nat King Cole, right? The chestnuts roasting on an open fire. It's just such a magical, beautiful song. Always brings forth just this warmth. You just feel like you're sitting in front of a fireplace with your dearest, most beloved people, even if you're just cleaning the house like I was at that particular time. And I guess a moment of realization was striking me, this emotion coming through from the singer. And I'm listening to the lyrics and I'm pausing to analyze the lyrics. You know how there's a funny thing where sometimes you pause to analyze lyrics and sometimes they don't even make sense? Well, these make sense, but they are kind of interesting to think about if you want to slow it down and look at them. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose, Yuletide carols being sung by a choir, folks dressed up like Eskimos, everybody knows, a turkey, and some mistletoe. And it goes on and on. But I'm thinking, wow, here's I'm a songwriter, of course, so I'm kind of seeing everything from this lens. I'm going, wow, there's so much power and so much emotion coming forward, and he's just listing things that are in the atmosphere. He hasn't said anything up to that point about how he himself feels. He's just listing items in the atmosphere and in the environment of Christmas. And it's carrying forward a heck of a lot of emotion, is it not? It's a timeless song. And it was making me realize something about love, about true love and about God's love. Because it starts to hit me more and more. And I think because I'm a guy, because I'm a man, I get this much more slowly. But the environment matters so much. The environment creates a feeling. It sparks the feeling that the environment supports. So an environment of love, an environment of warmth and fireplace and hot chocolate and all this stuff it just brings forth a feeling of connectedness, a feeling of warmth. And I say it again, I think this is definitely something women get more than men. One elderly man told me a joke one time. He said, "Tell me what's on the wall of an unmarried bachelor guy's apartment." I said, "Well, what?" He said, "Nothing." And it's really true, Before I met Keishu, nothing on my wall, nothing ever. And then now that 10 years into marriage, the wall has a circular mirror in the perfect place, a nice bookshelf that we painted in a custom color, and all this special things going into the atmosphere. It's definitely something women understand, is that the environment caters and creates the circuitry for the feeling and the spirit of a place. And it's something I'm trying to learn and embrace and get better at understanding and being aware of. And a great movie that demonstrates the same point is Lady and the Tramp, right? You got these two main characters. They happen to be dogs, but we all relate to them. So you have these two main characters meeting in the back alleyway. It kind of looks like a kind of garbage place, right? But the chef, who cares so much about them, he brings out the little tablecloth. It's the beautiful white and red checkers. He brings out a little candle. I mean, who doesn't like a candlelight dinner, right? Candle is there. Then he brings out the bowl of spaghetti. They take a bite, and then he comes out with the accordion. And then he's playing this beautiful song for them. You can just see all this joy and enthusiasm from the chef, from the owner, trying to create the environment for this love to happen between the two characters. And they're awkward and shy at first, but as the music soaks in, as the candlelight seeps in, they end in that famous scene that we all know, where they end up biting the same spaghetti noodle. It's a beautiful moment in storytelling. And it's really the heart of a parent. That chef is kind of overlooked character. The chef has the heart of a parent trying to create the environment. That's all of us who are parents, or all of us who feel care for a younger sibling or a family member. We want to create the environment and care for their well-being. And as parents, I can tell you, we're trying to do that all the time. And then zoom out the lens a little more. The ultimate heavenly parent. What has his heart been? What kind of environment did he create for humankind? You got to look around. Just see for the evidence for yourself. Mountains, right? Rivers, creeks, forests, waterfalls, endlessly tumbling down in this majesty. How many millions of years did it take to create this scene? I guess the chef and Lady and the Tramp probably took like 5 minutes. But how long did God work to create this environment of this planet? I know people that may not even understand exactly what they believe in God, but they know that when they go out in nature, they feel something powerful. They feel something that moves their soul. God built that for millions of years to create the environment, to strike awe in us, and that we would just give in to loving each other and loving God effortlessly. When you walk into a beautiful place, that first feeling, how he wanted us to feel when we walked into this place called Earth, when we were born here. Just struck by the beauty, to the point where we had no question if God loved us, no doubt in our mind, just endlessly thankful and in awe of the beauty around us. So sad that we overlook this all the time. Such an amazing place we live. This is the heart of a parent. And so where we're going here is just getting into the season of giving. We want to be aware of and take a moment to realize how much God has already given us before we even arrived. And when we think about that, we realize that one of the most obvious things we can do is to be givers ourselves. We come from God, made in his image and likeness, and he is absolutely a giver, endlessly giving. That's what God prepared this nature for us to be and do. When Jesus came to instruct his disciples and talk to the people about God, over and over again, he's talking about giving. Giving. He tells the story about the Good Samaritan. He talks about many, many different parables that explain that being a giver is the way to connect to the heart of God. And we want to be giving from a space that's not from a space of guilt. This is a very key thing that many religions in the past have gotten kind of wrong, is that take a look at this environment, take a look at this place we live. If we understood God and felt him more directly, we would be giving from a place of total gratitude. And that's actually why I love the word Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving right next to each other. When you're thankful, you're willing to be a lot more giving, right? Yeah, oh my God, thanks for putting this whole thing on for me. Let me buy you a cup of coffee at least, Let me do something in return. We got to become giving from a place of gratitude, not from a place of guilt. Giving thanks to everyone around us, and especially giving thanks to God. Giving thanks to God that he has given us more than enough gives us the strength to give more than we ever did before. Does that make sense? When we give, we start to run on empty. We think, well, I've been given a lot, nothing's coming back. But if we were truly in tune, and so this is the reason why there's so much value in having, you don't have to do this, but in having a religious, let's say, routine, or not routine, but a religious practice of thanking God. Because it's not because God's sitting there with his arms folded waiting for you to appease him. It's because it's good for your soul to remind yourself and refresh yourself in what God has already given us. It makes us stronger givers. It makes us lighter and happier to give to more people. Even if those people never give us anything back, God's always giving us something back, even before we were born. This is why worship and praise music, this is why praying and thanking God is very good for your soul. It's not a brownie point system to gain points that heaven and God think better about you. It's not some superstitious thing. It's because when we remind ourselves about how grateful we are, we become better givers. And when we become better givers, our spirit is growing. Absolutely growing. We don't have to worry about it. We don't have to wonder if God's looking down on us, making sure that we're holy. If you are giving better than you were giving in the past, your spirit's growing. And I really think this is important because I'm struggling, well, maybe just working on myself to be a better giver. It's not always easy to part with your time, to part with your money, to part with, and think about other things in your marriage too, right? To part with your your emotional availability, to give your true listening ears to someone, even if they're really need a shoulder to lean on. Maybe you need to give yourself in those other ways as well. So this is kind of the goal for us, to be better givers, to be more tender-hearted. And I want you to tap into that gratitude to unlock more giving. That is a really powerful mechanism in our spiritual life that we're overlooking. If we're not thanking God enough, it's really, we deprive of ourselves. Our fuel tank will start to run empty. So over the next few weeks, we're going to talk about more and more ways. I want to keep it spiritual, but also practical. How can we be giving without the fuel tank running out? There's many nuances to this. And if nothing else, I want you to take away a couple things from this message, which is, even if you don't feel like it, why don't you try that in every single prayer, one sentence in there, thanking God. Just thanking God, even if you don't really feel like it. Thanking God for something in our life. And I also want you to picture the beauty of nature around you. The waterfalls and the rivers are endlessly giving beauty and creating rainbows above it, and air is just, and sunlight is just continuously, endlessly giving. Believe it or not, brothers and sisters, we are made to give endlessly. without bitterness and resentment. How can we tap into it? Look at nature. It's the example. It's the environment God created for us. So next week, I hope you join us. We're going to talk more about giving, and we're going to talk about finding your passion and how improving yourself and giving the most evolved and best version of yourself and your talents and your interests is actually the best thing you can give to other people, and how we can make others shine by ourselves being elevated and better givers. And that's what we're all about here at the Living Room, really. It's about growth. It's about the most evolved and healed version of yourself and myself is the best gift we can give, especially to our children and to the next generation. So please tune in next time. Love to see you there. And thank you so much. God bless.